Good day. I'm Guy Dankaz, and today I'd like to welcome Erica Sam Hurley. She is a nurse educator at the Western Regional School of Nursing, Grenfell Campus, Memorial University of Newfoundland. Good day, Erica. How are you?
Good day. Good. Thank you very much.
What role do Aboriginal women play in family and community health?
Aboriginal women play a big part in health of community and the overall wellness of the family. Aboriginal women are the life givers. They're the protectors of the water. A lot of Aboriginal women are now reclaiming their roles through education, leadership roles, political roles, and different works that they're doing from the grassroots level right up to the larger organizational levels. These women are actually healers. They are dancers. They partake in ceremonies and various other healing aspects within communities. So knowing their traditional roles and, helping them grow in that traditional role is also helping the community and the family and the individuals heal. A lot of Aboriginal women now are also advocates, big advocates for the health of their communities, their families, and their overall people.
So from your experience, are there research gap when it comes to Aboriginal women's health?
Yes, there's definitely research gaps, I believe, in all areas of Indigenous health. Basically, a lot of the statistics that are published come from Canada itself. And sometimes the statistical research and the data that's collected is misrepresenting, I think, Indigenous people of Canada. For example, you have some people who are not self-identifying, so those non-status individuals. And sometimes they don't want to be identified. So therefore, their overall health status is not being captured in the overall picture. For example, the missing and murdered Indigenous women across Canada, the stats were thought to be a lot lower. When Indigenous women like NWACs got involved, the stats continued to grow because they would find out more and more information. So therefore, some mistrust at the justice system level, but at the grassroots level, with Indigenous people connecting with other Indigenous people, that trust was there. So you can find out a lot more information.
Let me ask, what is the impact of this gap on women's health?
Well, the impact is that basically you're not capturing the right statistical data that you're going to need to look at the overall picture of Indigenous people's health in Canada, particularly women. Basically, you need to get to the meat and bones of the issue. So why aren't people wanting to self-identify or be involved in health research and that kind of stuff? Well, basically, it's a lack of trust. What's happened in the past, the lack of respect that has been shown for Aboriginal women in Canada throughout history. So with the sexism, racism, Indigenous women do not want to participate. Therefore, you're getting the lack of participants within the research realm and collecting that data that's really important to understanding what is exactly happening with Aboriginal women in Canada.
So if women were more involved in the health research, how would that impact on care and services and policies?
Well, it would impact because you would get involvement from the people at the community and grassroots level. I think Indigenous women at all levels need to be involved. Those in education and leadership roles and et cetera. But like I said, right to the grassroots level. You'd have a bigger and better picture, like I said, of what our health status as Indigenous women look like in Canada. Not kind of like a watered down or like a altered overall picture. You'd have increase in credibility of the data collected as well. So I think once you have input from women at that level and all levels throughout, you're going to create a program or a service that is more easily accessible to Aboriginal women, something that if people are involved with from the start, they're going to have more trust in it, and you'd actually get people participating then.
So are you saying that bridging that gap would enable to provide for better services and that would really impact on the health of women? They would improve their health?
Definitely, because of the lack of trust and the history of Indigenous women in Canada. Without trust and support, Aboriginal women have not been, availing of services and stuff that are out there. So basically, services and programs are developed without the input of Aboriginal women. So it's not a program or a service that is ideal for them. They are not going to participate if they aren't in a comfortable environment. Maybe involving them at their own community instead of like having to go outside of their community. Just identifying what are the limitations for Aboriginal women. There's a discrepancy and difference between the health of Canadians to the overall Aboriginal woman and Aboriginal people in Canada. So it's a lot of all of our socioeconomic, all of our determinants of health intertwined. So basically looking at them all and picking them apart would definitely have Indigenous women, once they become more involved, wanting to partake in a program that's more appropriate to them.
So that leads to another question. You're talking about reconciliation in some ways. And how would reconciliation look like in order to improve Aboriginal women's health?
Well, I think, again, reconciliation, what it really looks like in the big picture, I don't think anyone knows. But I think in the ideal world, it would be, collaboration is going to be really important. Talking directly to Aboriginal women, Aboriginal people into the communities and asking them and working with them, what do you want? What do you need? What are your needs? Especially for Indigenous women. Empowering each other and building Indigenous women up. Identifying their health needs, like letting them be in control of their own health and wants and needs is going to be really important. Reconciliation is also going to involve that trust. The trust has to be built, a working, respectful relationship between all parts. So right from the grassroots up to all the healthcare providers and government even have to be involved at the various multi-pronged approach and levels to better overall health. Reconciliation it can't be one-sided, and it has to be through education. So understanding why Indigenous women have major concerns or issues coming to a clinic or participating in a program or a service and getting to the root causes of stuff, educating the health providers, getting more Indigenous women into healthcare roles, supporting those Indigenous women. Again, it comes to social determinants of health and what is the barriers for Indigenous women becoming more involved, for example, in getting into health careers. So reconciliation, I think, is going to be a big process, and it has a lot of different aspects to it, right from education to empowerment to respect. But it has to be mutual and starting somewhere and building upon it, I think.
So how can that be achieved?
I think through, again, good collaboration is going to be really important. If you're talking about disparities and gaps in the overall health of Indigenous women and Aboriginal people, again, it's all aspects of an individual. So everything impacts your health. You have to look at all the aspects of an Indigenous person, Indigenous woman, depending on what community they're located in and what are their concerns and their needs in that particular region. It can't be a blanket-all approach for sure. The needs in Nova Scotia, Mi'kmaq, is going to be quite different than the needs of the Indigenous Mi'kmaq here in Newfoundland, for example. So a program and service that's created on reserve might not work here off reserve. So a blanket all approach or a program that's designed to, we'll set up shop here and and deliver the same program there is not going to work. So really looking at all aspects of the individual, from their income and how come maybe they can't get employment where they're located, to the type of housing they're in. It's all many aspects, I think, in order to close and bridge that gap. And you have to really understand the individual and the community to kind of bridge that as well.
Much of what you've said so far has been, the issue has been the services or the programs have come from top down. What if that was reversed and it was defined from the community, or it was be community driven? How would that make a difference?
Well, in the past, research sometimes has not been done appropriately or ethically, and Aboriginal people generally know this. They're very hesitant to partake in research anymore. They don't want to give out their information. Where does it go? Are we losing our information? Are we still going to be part of the project or whatever you're trying to evolve a service? So I think at the community grassroots level, it would be totally different. It would be the community coming together, like I said before, identifying their own needs, what they need looked at and researched, and working with other people. So on a common level, not that someone comes in and researches, takes information and leaves, and they never hear from them again. So basically a community-driven approach. People, Aboriginal women particularly, would have power because in education and having own control of your health needs and your research, you're empowering them. So basically looking at a community, asking them their needs, creating a program or a service that again identifies, what is appropriate for that community would be really important. And again, like I had mentioned before, blanket all approach is not going to work, I don't think, in Aboriginal communities across Canada. And getting back to the real nuts and bolts, or the real reasons of why Aboriginal may not partake in some health prevention and promotion programs and that kind of thing. So a real community-driven approach, I think, would, really create more rich data and get to the real like meats and bones of what's happening with the health of that community.
Erica, you've been an expert in Aboriginal women's health. What do you think are the 3 most important issues or challenges that NWAC will face in setting up an Aboriginal Women Health Research Center?
I think the first thing that I thought of was, like, how will communities approach NWAC? Like what ways or avenues would they make their research thoughts or their health needs known to basically NWAC? The other issue would be like money, like always, like where's the money going to come from, particularly at like the ground level. So it's great to have an idea to come to NWAC, but sometimes it's how are the communities going to get together and drop a proposal or a thought or a plan to NWAC, maybe without any administrative support, or maybe they don't even know how to write proposals or look into what types of funding are even going to be available. And third, I think, is just educating, I think, people at the community and grassroots level what the benefit of the institution will be. And I think it's very important to highlight the key points of that it could be community driven and that NWAC could support them along the way. And again, money, how is NWAC going to go or support that community? I don't know how that actually looks.
One last question, Erica. What could we do to create more meaningful research and knowledge on Aboriginal women's health?
And again, I think like what we've discussed with a community-driven, having basically a lot of input at all the different levels from Indigenous people, particularly Indigenous women, would be really important. And that it's community-driven. So the community identifies a need or issue or concern, and then they're looking for maybe ways to overall make their overall health better. So they're going to actually, be part of the process and how it, is going to impact them and what changes that they could put in place. So basically, I really like NWAC's thoughts of, NWAC's getting institutional eligibility and a community coming to NWAC with an idea or a thought or how to make something even better and getting some input. Not someone coming in and taking over or not really including them in that process. So when you get some reason why people really want the research done, it means more to them. It has more meaning for them, and then they're going to partake and they're going to actually get involved, and they're actually going to build on that knowledge base and add to the data that needs to be collected.
On those words of wisdom, we thank you very much, Erica. It's been a pleasure. Talk to you soon.
Thank you very much.